Are you looking for the best e-readers? In this video we will look at some of the 5 best e-readers on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Amazon Kindle. As much as I love the Paperwhite, it's not the Kindle I travel with. That would be the standard Kindle, which is mostly just a smaller version of the Paperwhite, minus a few embellishments. Its display isn't flush with the bezel, so it looks less sleek, but functionally I haven't noticed any difference. The screen also isn't color adjustable, and it's not waterproof, unlike with the Paperwhite. The text is just as easy to read as on the Paperwhite's larger screen. Its battery life is a bit shorter, maxing out at 6 weeks if you're just using it to read, but that's still plenty of time between charges. Since you can't adjust the tone of the screen, it's a little less pleasant to read in darker settings, but again, it's perfectly fine, and you can still adjust the brightness as needed. None of its shortcomings detracts from the fact that it's a great e-reader. And for those with smaller hands, or who like to read for extended periods of time, the smaller size and lighter weight may be worth the trade-offs. At number 2. Kindle Paperwhite Kids. Amazon also makes a kid-friendly version of the Paperwhite. Its specs are identical, but it comes with a case and without ads, and parental controls are enabled. You can get your kid a regular Kindle Paperwhite and still enable parental controls, but this comes with everything already set up, and you don't have to go through any hoops to remove lock screen ads. It comes with a free year of Amazon's Kids Plus service, which comes with both entertaining and educational content made for kids. Just like the Paperwhite, it's waterproof, so it'll be safe even in the hands of the messiest kid. In the unfortunate event that your child does try to test this Kindle's limits, it comes with 2 years of worry-free protection, but accidental damage isn't covered. You could buy this version of the Paperwhite for yourself if you want to save $35 on the cost of a case. The 16GB Paperwhite without ads costs the same as the kids version, but you'll have to be okay with rocking one of the 3 kid-oriented cases. The most adult-friendly of the bunch is Emerald Forest, featuring woodland creatures and pine trees. There's also Robot Dreams, which paints a refreshingly optimistic picture of the future, and Warrior Cats, based on the YA series. You'll also have to remove the parental controls if you plan on using it for yourself, which is easy enough. At number 3. Amazon Kindle Scribe. I like my e-readers to be as portable as possible, but Amazon's large-screen Kindle Scribe convinced me large-screened e-readers can work as someone's only reader. Its 10.2-inch screen can display a much larger amount of text per page than any other Kindle, and it supports the exact same font sizes as the smaller models. You can create custom digital notebooks for jotting things down with the included stylus in a meeting or class, or just brainstorm ideas when you need some inspiration. There are several page templates, including grid, college ruled, and unlined. There's plenty of room to write lots of notes, and the stylus is a delight to use. You can select pencil or fountain pen modes, and use it to highlight text within an ebook. There's a dedicated tab at the bottom of the Scribe's navigation bar to access all your notebooks, so they're always a tap away. While the Paperwhite and regular Kindle both have plastic backs, with different finishes, the Scribe has a metal back. It's a bit harder to hold for extended periods, especially given its larger size and heavier weight, but it makes the device feel a bit more premium. Each back corner has a little rubber foot to prevent the e-reader from sliding around when you're writing away on it. The metal back is more slippery than the plastic on the Paperwhite or standard Kindle, though, so the Scribe is harder to prop up against a wall or another surface. The Scribe is quite similar to Kobo's Ellip 2e, which shares the same screen size, stylus support, and note-taking capabilities. I prefer the Ellipsa for taking notes, and have written more on that below, but the Kindle Scribe has a smoother overall experience, with software that feels slightly more polished. It has a larger library of ebooks you can buy, and they are often cheaper than those on the Kobo store. My only issue with the Scribe's note-taking is that if you write a note inside of a book, you have to tap on it to view it, which is tedious if you're using your notes to study. The Kobo Ellip 2e lets you write notes directly on the page of an ebook, so they're always visible, just as they would be in a physical book. Additionally, Amazon charges you extra to get an eraser for the Scribe stylus, while the Ellipsa stylus comes with it. At number 4. Kobo Ellip 2e. I've long been a Kindle devotee, but Kobo's Ellipsa 2e persuaded me to branch out for two major reasons. First, Kobos are better for reading library books and news articles. Like Amazon's Kindles, Kobos also have the Open Dyslexic font pre-installed. Second, taking notes inside an ebook on the stylus-friendly Ellipsa is as simple as writing directly on the page, either over text or alongside it. It's both easier to start taking notes and easier to see the notes than with the Scribe's note solution, which requires the extra step of selecting the text, or highlighted text, each time. If you want to write outside of an ebook and in a dedicated notebook, there's a tab for that on the Ellipsa's home screen, and you can pick from several templates to format the pages of your notebook. The included stylus has an eraser on the top edge, so if you make a mistake you can just flip your stylus around like a pencil. You have to upgrade to the premium version of the stylus to do this on the Kindle Scribe. The Ellipsa 2e's back is made of a textured plastic that's easier to hang onto than the Scribe's slick metal back. It also has rubber feet that are larger than the Scribe's, but because they're the same color as the back of the device, they're not as obtrusive, and they do a good job of keeping the Ellipsa in place. To highlight text in an ebook, you can drag your finger across text just like on most other e-readers, or you can use the stylus. To do that, though, you have to press down on the stylus's button, which may present some issues for anyone with dexterity issues. The Kindle Scribe stylus, on the other hand, highlights text the moment you drag it across the screen, but you can't write directly on the page. I don't like that the Ellipsa 2e's stylus needs to be charged separately from the reader itself. Both use a USB-C charging port, so you'll only need one cable if you don't need to charge them at the same time. The Scribe stylus doesn't even need to be charged, nor does the Remarkables. I prefer the feel and functionality of Kobo's stylus, which also works with the smaller Sage reader, but I wish charging it were less tedious. At number 5. Kobo Sage. Since I started testing it late last year, Kobo Sage has become my favorite e-reader. It's effectively a smaller version of the Ellipsa 2e. These are the only two Kobo devices that have stylus support. The Sage's display, which is slightly larger than the Paperwhite's but significantly smaller than the Ellipsa's or Scribe's, strikes a nice balance between portability and the flexibility of a larger display. When I want to take a note in an ebook, there's plenty of room to do so without feeling cramped, and using its notebook feature feels just like writing in a planner-sized notebook. On one side of the Sage, there are two buttons for turning pages. Most modern e-readers have turned to touch controls for this. I read one-handed a lot, so these buttons come in handy. Thanks to its textured back, the same style as on the Ellipsa, it's easy and comfortable to hold, too. While the Kindle software feels the most polished among e-readers I've tested, Kobo's feels more tailored towards passionate readers. For instance, you can browse the service Libby, which lets you check out ebooks from your local library directly from the device. To get those ebooks onto a Kindle, you'd have to access Libby from a smartphone or computer and connect your Kindle, then send the book to the device. It's still doable, but Kobo's process is refreshingly streamlined. My favorite feature, though, is that it supports the Read It Later service pocket, so I can read news articles I've saved from my phone or laptop right on the Kobo's display, which is easier on the eyes than my iPhone or Mac's bright LED displays. The only problem is that, unlike in ebooks, you can't highlight text in articles saved to Pocket, and the company says there are no plans to implement the feature, which is available on all Pocket's other apps. The Sage's greatest weakness, and my main frustration with it, is that its battery life is notably shorter than that of nearly any other e-reader I've tested. With heavy use, it'll last about a week, which is well short of the Paperwhite's 10 weeks. It's still infrequent enough to not feel like a nuisance, but I've had to be more diligent about keeping it charged than I ever have to with my Paperwhite. Kobo does sell a battery case that can give the Sage an extra boost, but I wish it were included.